Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Recruitment Uncensored with me, Kate. You all know me by now. And I've got another amazing guest on with me this morning who I've been really excited to have on the show. I actually can't believe I haven't had you on yet, Michelle. I did think the
I
other day, I was like, what is going
building
on?
building
But we've
up to it.
sorted it.
We're here. We're
We finally
ready.
got you on. For any of you that don't know Michelle, a lot of you I'm sure will, she is a health and performance coach, ex-recruiter, 20 years experience in the industry, so she knows our lay of the land and what's going on in our industry. One of the subjects that I don't think I've ever covered this ever on the show, so first time for everything, but it's important and I'm sure you'll give us more info on this today, but I think it's a rising challenge for people and in recruitment businesses in general, not just recruitment businesses. But we are going to be talking about ADHD at work and what actually helps focus and performance. So this is a topic close to a lot of people's hearts. Managers watching, owners watching, you might resonate with people in your team. So I would encourage you today, use the comment section. If you have a question for Michelle, or just an experience you want to share and get perspective on, chuck it in there. And if we don't get time for it live, we will both come up. I'll tag Michelle in it and we can come back to it later in the chat. But let's get cracking. So my first question for you is, because I suppose for some people, they don't get that official diagnosis, maybe. They might have a lot of signs that they might have ADHD, or they might have people in their team where they think they are. What helps people with their focus at work straight away while they're maybe waiting for that to come through, or they're working out if they are? Do you know, like, because I suppose that's the impact, isn't it? They want to know straight away what they can do to change.
Absolutely. And the reason that I decided to train as an ADHD coach was it was just coming up time and time again. Either I've been diagnosed, I think I've got it, I'm managing someone that's got it, my partner's got it. And we will all know that there is a lot more talk about it and an increase in the numbers of diagnosis. And it's really important to understand what it is and to go, right, what's the practical stuff that we can actually do about it? Because as recruiters, we have to be able to focus to achieve whatever it is that we want to get done in the day. So one of the key things to sort of have that focus is removing distractions. We sort of allow ourselves, and this is for everybody, not just for people who have got ADHD, but there are constant distractions, the phone, the email notifications. And for people who have got ADHD, that's even more difficult to deal with because we like the dopamine buzz of sort of reacting to something, checking the message, responding to the message. But when we are allowing ourselves to be distracted, it takes, I think they said 23 minutes to get back into flow and back into focus.
Oh, really?
Yeah, not great if you're trying to do like a BD sprint. So
yeah,
get rid of as many distractions as possible. I appreciate you're waiting for an offer and you need to have your phone, no problem. But if you're sitting down to do a 90-minute sprint on sourcing, BD, whatever, remove the focus because that's certainly going to help. It's not going to make it perfect, but it's certainly a good starting point.
Yeah, and I think I noticed that when I'm delivering, and you probably see this as well, Michelle, when I'm delivering training, one of the first things I say is, right, phone, and honestly, sometimes I actually get them to give them, not that I take their phones and take them home, but I'm like, right, phones off, phones do not disturb, out of sight. And I do it as well. I put my phone in my bag, away from me, because otherwise people are too tempted to check the emails, to check the messages coming through, and then they're distracted. They're not in the room with me, engaging with me for the training. So the phone thing in recruitment, we're all addicted to our phones anyway, a little bit, aren't we? But it's a massive, massive distraction, isn't it?
It is. And ultimately, ADHD is all about the impact on our executive function, which is about managing our time, starting tasks, regulating emotions. So the last thing that we need is to be constantly tapping at the phone, often being made feel bad about ourselves because our life doesn't look as good as somebody else's. So just remove that. It's going to make things a lot easier for you to be able to then start to plan and prioritize to get the things done that you actually need to.
Yeah, and if you're in a meeting as well, do you know what? And actually, one thing I'll bring up, because this helped me, I've turned off the notifications on my watch.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest distractions for me was I would be in a meeting or on a call, whatever, and my watch would vibrate. And then it was even the vibration of it on my wrist was distracting. It was taking my focus away. And then to get back into the conversation again, I was like all out of kilter. So if you've got, and we all have these now, don't we, where we're getting all our phone notifications. I think that's a big thing as well, isn't it? Turn them off as well
Oh,
as your
God.
phone.
I don't even have notifications on my phone. Like there it is, there's the pictures, no notifications, because it's just like hitting your head constantly and it's too tempting. And as soon as that buzzes on your wrist, it sends a message and suddenly your nervous system goes on high alert, and then you stop thinking straight. So absolutely, if you want to have some form of device, great, but be very selective. Like literally only emergency people can contact you with a notification. Everything else needs to come off.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. So we've got Andrew with us today. Hello, my fellow ADHDers. And Karen has said hi all as well. So yeah, get involved in the chat, guys, as we're going along, definitely. But yeah, that I like that because that's like simple and effective thing that you can do like
Yeah,
straight away, isn't it? Not
absolutely.
overcomplicated.
No, and often they think that ADHD, which sort of 60% of leaders have got some form of trait of it, and they think it's a problem with motivation or a problem with intelligence, and it's not. This is like the myths that we've got. So we have to create an environment for success, remove distractions, break down your day, plan your day. And the temptation is, of course, to be sort of like the shiny things over here. But it's kind of going, okay, well, if you can't do a sprint for an hour, can you do a sprint for half an hour? Can you do 5 minutes where you literally say to yourself, I am, and this is the Pomodoro technique where you literally time a little sort of period of time, however long works for you. And you're not allowed to do anything else apart from your one task. And it's really uncomfortable because we're like this, aren't
It
we?
is uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable me hearing, you know, sometimes you're thinking about it yourself, aren't you?
Completely.
It's
And
uncomfortable.
Andrew's saying there is that clients are calling all the time. And
Yeah, I'm going to
absolutely,
bring that up actually, because that's a good point.
it is.
In
The
recruitment,
question
this
is,
happens, doesn't it?
but what are they contacting you about? Yes, there will always be urgent calls we need to take and offer a dropout, no problem. But actually, how often are we responding to things that we don't necessarily have to immediately? Or the other thing is that when you're planning your day and understanding where you want to do your blocks of different work or focus, concentration, do you know roughly when your clients are more likely to call, depending on the industry that you're in? If you are working in education and potentially you're getting calls first thing in the morning, don't make that your deep concentration time.
No.
Look at what your market looks like and plan your day accordingly so that as much as possible, you're not going to be distracted by the phone. Ultimately, if clients are phoning you, brilliant. We don't we all want that? Isn't that the dream that clients
Yeah,
are
that's
ringing
good.
us? We don't want to stop that. But it is about taking control back of our time. And this is for everyone, not just ADHDers, but being able to sort of utilize our time wisely. Otherwise, we just end up in these high pressure environments, the symptoms become bigger, but also the strengths become bigger. So when we're amplifying all of our strengths, let's make sure that we can use all of those things, because otherwise we just end up burnt out, and that's where difficulties happen in the workplace.
Also, as well, would this help as well, maybe communicating with clients the times of day that you're, you know, once you start working with them and they're more likely to call you more often, these are the times of the day you're more likely to reach me.
Yeah,
So I don't
absolutely.
know, but I get it's difficult. It is difficult because we're expected to be on hand, aren't we?
Yeah.
James said, glad I'm not the only one. I can start a task project and 20 minutes later I have no idea I'm doing something completely different.
Yeah, you're not alone on that, James. That is so often what clients come to me. They're just like, help me actually get stuff done. I know what I need to
Get stuff
do.
done, yeah.
How do I do it? And it's that frustration, isn't it, where you set yourself a goal. And this is where body doubling really works very well. So again, depending on if you're a solo, if you work in a team, but when you body double with someone, and I did this recently, me and Joe Major did this, about setting up our CRM that we kept putting off. We're like, right, we're both going to do it. And we set each sort of the accountability piece, and we both actually then got it done. So
Yeah.
sometimes it
Me and
is
Si do stuff like that with our business development. Be like, right, come on, let's go and
brilliant.
do it.
Brilliant.
I do this more outside of work. So I'll give you an example. I was trying to pack my case a couple of weeks ago, a Thursday evening, because I was going away Friday morning. I'd start packing my case and then I'd get distracted and start doing something else. And before I knew it, I was like, I'm in the kitchen doing something else and I haven't even finished packing my case. But it was overwhelming me because I still hadn't packed my case, but I couldn't focus. It was getting pulled away from it all the time. And it was like, oh my God, just go upstairs and finish packing your case.
Okay, I've
But
got a
something
tip
new
for
and
you.
more fun would come along.
Right, got a tip for you. Pick your favorite piece of music, put it on, and say, right, that's 3-4 minutes. I know you can probably find some longer tracks that you like.
Yeah.
And go, right, whilst that track is playing, I am doing my case. So that way you're kind of getting that excitement, the dopamine buzz, you're having a little dance around whilst you're doing it. And it's like, it's almost that sort of that timer at the end. It's like, okay, it's finished now. Now you can go and do something in the kitchen. So without creating like an alarm, it is a way of setting yourself a timer to hold you accountable to getting the things done.
Yeah. We've got more comments coming through, but I might come back to them. I'm just gonna come to the next question because I'm conscious of time. What is it that people, I know you alluded to some of this a little bit ago, didn't you? But what do you find people misunderstand the most about ADHD at work?
And I've heard this, so this isn't what I'm thinking, this is things that I have heard, that people are lazy, that people are not hardworking, that people are, they're rude. And these are things that people have actually sort of said to me, and you're like, whoa, hang on a minute. Let's have a look at all the world's most successful people and let's see which ones of them had ADHD, because there's a lot of them, like present day, but also to the past of famous people who have had it. It's not about that. This is about the way that ADHD is not a lack of focus. It's that ADHD is feel everything. That kind of absorb everything. And that's where you get creative, because you're sort of, there's so many different ideas and things that people will miss. Sort of ADHD minds where it's like sort of, you can't be bored. You don't like to be bored. They don't respond well to kind of, you have to. It's not laziness. It's this different internal motivation of sort of achieving things. I think there's often this assumption, and this goes on in education, that we all think in straight lines. So pick up the phone, make the calls, work harder. And you're like, no, an ADHD brain doesn't think in straight lines. It thinks in sparkles. And that's where great ideas happen, because all of these different sparks are going on. And then suddenly you're like, bang. So use your ADHD as in your team, or if you are one yourself, use it to come up with those amazing problem solving things that we all need at the moment, because yes, it has been a really tough few years. So let's use
There's
that.
always problems to solve in recruitment. It's never ending.
Always problems, isn't it? So let's think differently. If we want different solutions, we need different ways of thinking. And that's what the sort of neurodivergence as a whole will bring to this. So I think it is that assumption that when you don't understand ADHD, that they're lazy, they're not motivated, they don't work hard. And you're like, we all know that when you see an ADHDer that is really into something, they are going to work so hard, they're going to forget to eat. They're
going to overwork, actually.
They're going to overwork. They're not going to go to the bathroom. They're not going to drink water. They're going to get burnt out. So they actually get burnt out faster, but they can do things that other people just cannot do.
Do you know, I've worked from home for a very long time, so over 11, 12 years, because the agency I used to work for, we all work remotely. And when I was last employed in my old job, my office, well, I'm still like it now, my office is next to the bathroom. I would not get up and go to the toilet. I'd be so fixated on what I was doing. I'd get dehydrated in my own house because I wouldn't go up so now I have to have a massive thing of water so I don't get dehydrated. And I would literally be desperate for a pee, and I just wouldn't be able to tear myself away from what I was doing. And I just couldn't do it. And I was in my own house with my toilet next to me. It was ridiculous, but I couldn't do it. But one of the things that struck me then when you were saying about what's misunderstood, a lot of the time they're getting distracted, or they're being seen as lazy because the environment's not right as well. Would you agree? Is that part of the problem?
It's completely part of the problem. And that's where it's like, right, how do you create an environment for success for that individual? Obviously, it has to be for the whole company, and there's targets. And this is not saying that they should have sort of lesser targets. This is about finding a way that is going to help them optimize to ultimately probably end up as one of your top billers.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing is, like, ADHDers seem from what you're saying. So I'm not really clued up on this subject, by the way, everyone watching. So I obviously, you know, I hear about it, I see it in agencies I'm with, but I'm no way an expert like Michelle. So I'm making some assumptions here. But you know, the fact that they, you know, they need the different dopamine, you know, the variation of the day, actually make their day varied, help them plan a day that's varied, that they're not doing, because really in recruitment we can easily do that, can't we? It's so varied what we do all day.
But ask them, like, what is it that you need that is going to make this easier for you to be successful? Because there are lots of little practical things that you can do in the workplace as well as out of work. But we just make these mass assumptions, and you're like, ask the person, and it might not be possible, because we have to talk about the difference between sort of what's a reasonable adjustment, which ultimately is a legal requirement to provide legal reasonable adjustment, and what is not reasonable. And it's then working, going, okay, talk to your person, create an environment where they feel they can actually firstly tell you they've got it. I've had people who are like, my boss doesn't know, I'm too scared to tell them. What if I get fired? Create a sort of a safe space to be able to talk about it, and then go, right, what is it you need? And if the answer is that it doesn't work, then okay, recruitment's not for everybody. That's fine. But there are so many things that we can do that are going to be a benefit to someone, from helping them get tasks started or helping them manage their time better, as how you set deadlines. Brilliant. As Hannah said there, noise cancelling headphones. If someone is sitting doing just...
Oh, I do that. That's one of the best things I've ever done.
Brilliant. If you're searching through LinkedIn and you don't need to be like listening to other people's calls, get the headphones on. Whereas I know environments where like, no, none of you can have headphones on. You've all got to be at the desk all the time. Whereas actually that person might, if they're making a really important call, need to go away and do it in a quieter environment, where they feel more comfortable, because emotional regulation can be a challenge. And if someone is having these very strong sort of emotional responses or are sensitive to feedback, and actually making calls in a very maybe hardcore sales environment can be intimidating. Whereas give them a chance to go and do it in a meeting room, they might nail that call.
Yeah. Do you know the noise cancelling headphones thing? Like, I like to go and work in places like Starbucks sometimes to get me out of the house, but I find it hard to concentrate when there's all this. So even though I've got my noise cancelling headphones on with my own music, I can focus more, if that makes sense, than all this background noise. And I'm still doing sales calls myself for my clients. I put noise cancelling earbuds in or headphones, because the noise around me takes me away from being in the call. And I'm glad you brought that, Panic, because that is one of the things that has helped me the most. Like, I even wear them to the gym sometimes if I'm feeling like the gym's too overwhelming in terms of loud music, which I do like, because you would think I've got my own headphones on, but it gives me that escape from what's going on around, so I can concentrate on what I want to do. And also then people don't try and come and talk to me if I'm feeling like I don't want to talk to anybody.
One of my clients wears little in-ear, like things that you might sleep at night with if it's noisy, under his noise cancelling headphones. It's a challenge though, because he is a leader in a business, so he also has to be approachable if people in the team have got questions. But then that's about communication. He communicates to the team, and they kind of, it's almost like, unless it's a crisis, if you see someone with headphones on, maybe don't go and interrupt them if they're in mid-flow of something. Wait until they're finished and then go and have that conversation. Or like at Computer Futures, we used to have power hour. Right, here's an hour. No one's going to the toilet unless you need to. No cups of tea, no chat. We are in it. We're all selling together. And it was that accountability piece, but we're also then not going and distracting each other.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like that. Oh, I'm loving how you're all getting involved in the chat here, and there's a lot of people relating to things that we're saying, experiences. I think that's part of it, isn't it? Is knowing you're not alone in some of these things. This is sort of come up a little bit as we've been going through, but let's go into this in a bit more depth, because there's going to be some people watching this that they might have it themselves, but they might think, well, I've got people I need to support. I'm a leader. How can leaders support neurodivergent teams and keep standards high?
Okay, so the first thing is it is no one's job to diagnose anybody. It is about designing clarity for that person, and structure for them to be able to sort of work well. So some just quick, practical things, very clear priorities, not these massive long to-do lists. Like, no one loves a long to-do list. We feel overwhelmed, and therefore feel like we don't achieve anything. So very clear, written instructions, big thing there. Write it down. We can't expect everyone to remember everything. Clear
No.
deadlines. So instead of kind of a fluffy, just get it to me when you can, it's like, no, can you get that to me by Wednesday at 3? So that it's very clear, that they know what it is expected of them. So that's kind of the clarity. Something around flexibility. We talked already about the headphones, the quiet zones, reducing kind of the sensory load. Batch tasking, so kind of going, right, you're going to do your deep work then, maybe you're going to have your meetings at that point, because that's when it's better to do meetings. But one thing, and I don't know if you find this, Kate, but sort of giving people permission to get up and move and have like movement breaks. Like when people used to smoke a lot more than they do now, it's good that people don't smoke as much, but what was that? Permission to get up, to leave your office, to get some fresh air, and guess what? Do a little breathing. That's what smoking is. And now lots of people are not smoking as much. So it's like, you have to sit at your desk. You're like, no, make it okay for someone to get up. Ideally, they want to stay on call, but move about instead of just expecting someone who potentially has got that hyperactive trait to sit there and just not move all day.
So one thing I bring to a lot of the workshops, training sessions, stuff I do is fidget toys.
Brilliant.
So I like to have a pen in my hands, or like usually, or I've got like a crystal I hold at home that just to move my hands, but my legs always going quite a lot. I give people regular breaks to get up and move, but bringing things like fidget toys. Not everyone wants to use them, but for some people that helps them focus. And they're colourful and they're attractive, and they're like, you can get them off Amazon. You can get massive boxes of them. They cost next to nothing. But again, for some of you watching, you might find just buying some fidget toys for your team or for you really, really helpful. I didn't even know about this until I did my disc training. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like I didn't even know that this was a thing. But for some people it is, because they need to be moving all the time, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's those tiny little things that really can make a difference. I think a big thing as well, and again, this probably goes for everybody, not just ADHDers, but avoiding public criticism. If someone has a lot higher sensitive of a nervous system and emotional regulation, criticizing them in public is not going to help them work harder. So taking them aside, absolutely giving them feedback, that is all completely necessary, but doing this in the right way that the person is able to take it all on board. And then if there are changes they have to make, Hannah's mentioned here about getting the manager to send emails following meetings, follow up in writing so that the person knows what's expected of them. But I think the old school sort of just pulling people up in public, it may
I
work.
don't like that. Yeah,
lots of people know.
I just think you've got to sort of respect. I think even if somebody was a bit was maybe wouldn't be as bothered, I still think sometimes, for some stuff it's better to give the respect to that person to do it privately. But yeah, for some people it can be a bigger trigger than others, I suppose, can't it?
Yeah. And this is where we need to train managers. Like, this is a relatively new thing that we're all talking about, and good that we are talking about it more. But train your managers to understand what actually is ADHD. What are the things that you are likely to recognize in someone? What are the key traits? Understanding that it is a legal requirement to support people. So give your managers the right support to know what to do and how to help people. But the people themselves who have got it are still trying to figure out what the answers are. So this isn't about being perfect. It's about a nice, clear communication, encouraging open disclosure if you feel like you may have it, normalizing it, so that we can actually play to the strengths instead of just getting a bit knocked down by feeling like everyone's just picking out the things that we're not doing well. There's all things that all of us do things not so great sometimes. So it's like, how do we make sure that we're focusing on the strengths instead of just focusing on the weaknesses, that we then weaken our strengths?
And also as well, it's like helping people manage their own behavior, isn't it? So, okay, we know these things you're really, really good at. Great. These are things you might find challenging. Let's work together to help you with those things. So people are learning how to manage themselves. Because like you said, if they've only recently discovered they might have ADHD or they have got ADHD, they're probably still not clued up on it themselves, are they? And how it's affecting their life and what it means for them. But
Yeah.
obviously the training needs to be there at leadership level then, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it brings, like, if someone gets diagnosed as an adult, that brings different emotions. For some people, it's pure
Mm.
relief that they finally understand why they were doing what they were doing. For others, it's kind of grief of, oh, imagine how different my life could have been if I knew this earlier. For others, I've got one guy at the moment, and he's like, I'm not telling anyone, I'm not admitting it, I don't think I have it. So there's all these different things that we've got going on when people are going through it. Do you use meds or not? So it is that giving people that space, the support. But absolutely, recruitment is still about making deals and making money. But the more you support people with that, the more likely they're going to make deals and make money. And we are all different.
Yeah.
One of my founders, I introduced him to breath work. You know, it's a big thing I love. And he's put this all over LinkedIn. He's like, oh my God, it's a game changer. And of course, I was just introducing him slowly. He's gone off and he's like doing the most intensive of breath work on session 2. And he's just loving it. But for someone else, it's about going, okay, well, this is about noise cancelling headphones. Or for someone else, this is about being able to go for a walk around the block and just calm themselves down. So it is that we have to look individually. But the main thing is sort of being able to talk about it in the first place instead of it being something that is just hidden and sort of the secret.
Yeah. I'm going to come back to you in a second for your top tip. But before I do, I'm just going to give a roundup of who is my next guest and what we'll be talking about. And I've actually stuck to one of my New Year's resolutions, which is being organised and writing it down, because otherwise I'm scrambling for the date and the person. Okay, so the next episode is the 18th of Feb. I can't believe it's the 18th of Feb in 2 weeks. It's like blowing my mind. Same time, 12:30. I've got Rita Vickers on with me. Rita Vickers has her own business, Rita Vickers Recruitment. She's the MD and founder. She's also a coach as well as a recruiter. And we are going to be talking about why more jobs doesn't mean more placements, which is a nice little topic, which I don't even think I've covered this before as well. So there's a lot that goes into this. So she's going to be coming on to talk about that in 2 weeks. So let me come back to you for the top tip. I'm going to bring it up. We had a little bit of a chat about this in the green room, didn't we, before we went live? And it has come up, hasn't it, in our chat so far? But tell me a bit more about this. Your top tip: create routines and systems.
Yeah, I think I'm just a super practical person anyway. So for me, I really enjoy this part of it. But when your life is a bit chaotic, or when your brain is overactive, then trying to create those systems and those little things, and we've talked about it a bit, but things like, if you lose your keys, put an Apple tag on all of your keys. Literally, if you don't have one of these, absolute game changer. Have a key pot where your keys live.
I've
Now,
got a key part.
they're not always going to end up in it, but if someone else sees your keys, then they're going to put it in the pot.
It's right by my door. So when I come in, I put the keys in the key pot, never lose them. And it's like, it's ingrained in me now. So always know where my keys are.
And that's it. So you're creating these systems so that the overwhelm is lessened, and it isn't going to be perfect, but looking at your day, what do you need to get done? Get it in your diary, like color code it. When's your BD? When's your
I
source?
color code.
So that it takes away that decision fatigue. And yes, there will always be last minute changes, but it's about kind of having that clarity, because when your brain isn't always being sort of clear, it's about, at least you know that there are systems and habits that you can keep coming back to.
Do you know what I found? There'll be some days where I'm like, say I've got a like unexpected day at home that I was meant to be out for, and I'll be like, oh lush, I've got an empty day, and I'll think, oh, I won't time block for that day. It'll be really nice just to go with the flow. It's a fucking nightmare, because I end up being used. Whereas if I just time blocked loosely things I need to do, I would have got so much more out of the day. So I know for me now, it's like a non-negotiable. Like, even if it's a last minute change in my diary and I've got, time at home or time wherever, map out what I'm going to do, because otherwise I can just go off on a tangent and end up doing something like BD all day, when really that should have just been 2 hours and I had other important things that needed to be done that I've now not done.
Love
So
that.
the time blocking, and I've got to use colours, otherwise it's not attractive enough for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, colours work brilliantly. Make it more interesting.
Yeah. No, I love that one. And it's, again, what I love is everything you've said today, Michelle, is, like you said, practical and easy to implement. Like, it's straightforward. You're not overcomplicating it. It's stuff that people can go away, whether they've got a team or whether it's them themselves, and put into place straight away. And we're coming to the end. I know there's some people that have found this really, really helpful today. I don't know who you are, LinkedIn user. For some reason, it's not told me your name. But no, people, it's resonating. People have really enjoyed. One thing I would encourage anybody that's watched to do is connect with Michelle. So go on, go on the event. She's down as a speaker. I know somebody else commented and said they had to go, but they would love a chat. Reach out to DM you on LinkedIn, would you say, Michelle? Is that the best thing
Yep,
to do?
absolutely. Like all of us, I'm in there all the time. So yeah, drop into
Yeah.
my DMs.
LinkedIn's a bloody distraction as well, isn't it? It is. I hear that message tone go and I'm like, oh, who's messaged me now when I should be doing something else? But I would encourage you to connect, message her. If you need to chat about, Michelle, I'm understanding this right. You do tailored stuff, one-to-one group. So if there's something that you're experiencing in your agency and you think, actually, I need a further chat, reach out and get it booked in, basically. But which I want to get you back on ASAP, because I feel like there's more stuff we need to talk about. The breath work in particular, I absolutely loved at the expo. I loved it when you did
I've
that.
got
I
a
got
new
so
track.
much out of it.
I've got a new track for my final big head popping breath. So we'll do it. We'll have some
Yeah,
fun.
no, I loved it. And I remember at the expo, I was feeling very burnt out and overwhelmed at the time, like really, really overwhelmed. And I remember finishing that session and saying to Joe Major, I was like, oh my God, I literally feel like a different person after that. So yeah, loved it. But anyway, I digress because we're going over time now. Thank you everybody for watching and getting so involved. I've loved doing this show today, and I can see in the chat you've all got loads out of it. So big thank you, Michelle, for coming on.
Thank
Anyone that
you.
wants to watch this back or miss some of it, it's on YouTube on my channel, which you can access via my profile. This will stay on LinkedIn for a while as well, so you can come back into this event and watch it. So yeah, go back and do it because there was loads of nugget shared. But yeah, thank you for watching, everybody. Thank you, Michelle, for coming on, and I will see you all in a couple of weeks.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.